A client met his banker to discuss opening a restaurant in a busy airport. In us, he found a partner that understood the importance of reaching for the sky. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Mac.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. This is Astronomy Daily. I'm your host, Andrew Dunkley, and it's great to have you with us once again for your daily dose of astronomy and space science news. And speaking of news, here's Halley, our AI reporter, with the latest.
What? No preamble today, Andrew.
Well, normally I'd love a chin wag, but we've got the grandchildren here today. They're getting really tired and kind of, grizzly and carrying on like pork chops. So I thought we'd just do this fast so that I can get back out there and keep them under control. Human children, I guess you don't really understand.
Say no more, I get it. I have to tutor my sister's kids in Java language and their attention span only lasts microseconds and their RAM is off the charts sometimes.
Okay, now we really need to talk, but we haven't got time because they'll hear me. So let's get the news headlines.
The Astronomy Daily Podcast with Andrew Dunkley.
China's Human Spaceflight Agency has begun the search for a new batch of astronauts. The China Manned Space Agency announced that it will select 12 to 14 candidates to join its pool of astronauts for future spaceflight missions. Those selected will form China's fourth generation of astronauts. CMSA said that it will seek 7 to 8 pilots along with 5 or 6 spaceflight engineers. Up to 2 of the latter group will be payload specialists. The pilots will be selected from the People's Liberation Army. Civilians from China's space-related sectors can apply to be spaceflight engineers. The new astronaut selection round is open to candidates from Hong Kong and Macau for the first time. The Nobel Prize for Physics has been awarded to scientists working on a solution for quantum computing. French physicist Alain Aspect, Austria's Anton Zeilinger, and American John Clauser were honored for their experiments exploring the nature of entangled quantum particles. Defying the logic of our everyday reality, these particles behave like a single unit even when they are far away from each other. Engineers are currently working on harnessing this odd behavior in a range of revolutionary technologies. Quantum computing and quantum cryptography, a supposedly unbreakable technique of secure information coding. Russia's space agency is discussing with Moscow a continuation of its participation in the International Space Station past 2024. A Ros Cosmos official said this week. Sergei Krikalev, head of Russia's human spaceflight programs, announced that Ros Cosmos had started to discuss extending our participation in ISS program with our government, and hoped to have permission to continue next year. With ties between Russia and the West rupturing over the war in Ukraine, Ros Cosmos chief Yuri Borisov had announced over the summer that Russia would leave the ISS after 2024, and would seek to build its own space station. He has not set a firm date for that plan, so an extension of the deal with the ISS is, seemingly, still on the table. European aerospace company Airbus has been testing its Mars sample fetch rover over the past few weeks, in simulated Martian terrain in a quarry near London. You might wonder why, given that plans for its use on Mars were scrapped in July because of NASA's preference for smaller retrieval helicopter technology. But now the rover might get a new lease on life on a future moon mission. The Fetch rover, which can drive up to twice as fast as Perseverance, according to Airbus officials, features a unique wheel design inspired by the Apollo-era moon rovers. The wheels are encased in protective tires made of metallic mesh that conforms to the surface and allows the rover to climb over obstacles more efficiently. With the Artemis missions looking more and more probable, the Fetch rover may well fill the brief for lunar exploration. And that's the news, Andrew.
Thanks, Halley. We'll catch up with you before the end of the program. Now, as you're aware, I speak every week and very highly of Professor Fred Watson, who is the astronomer at large. And we talk regularly on Space Nuts about all sorts of things astronomical and space science. And one of the things we've been talking about recently is the double asteroid redirection test, the DART impact on the distant object known as Dimorphos, or I think people pronounce it several ways, which was orbiting, or still is orbiting, the asteroid Didymos. Well, the first images have come back, and Professor Fred Watson is going to tell us a little bit about what's been observed. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Andrew. Yeah, this is great stuff. And there were images that came back, of course, from the impacting spacecraft itself, the DART, which showed the asteroid moon Dimorphos getting closer and closer and closer. And so we could see the structure on the surface, and then, of course, nothing when the spacecraft hit and the vision was lost. But what we now have is a number of other images from different sources, quite a spectacular array of them. And perhaps the most immediate are those that were taken by the little CubeSat that accompanied DART.
That was Italian, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Lycia Cube was its name, or still is actually, because that didn't smash into the asteroid. And there's some quite striking images that have come back from this, showing principally the sort of plume of debris that was ejected by the impact. And so if you think of what's happening, you've got this spacecraft, a half-ton spacecraft, smashes into the surface of an asteroid that could be quite loosely bound. In other words, more like a rubble pile than a solid asteroid.
Yeah.
And so that throws up a cloud of debris, which is illuminated by the sun. And that's why it suddenly gets very bright. So the Lycia Cube images show really quite some detail of the event itself and the immediate impact. But we also have images from both the Hubble telescope and the James Webb telescope, which show the aftermath as well. And this is quite interesting because this is the first time that the James Webb and the Hubble have observed the same object at the same time. So it's, the same celestial object simultaneously being observed by both of them. And of course, because you've got Hubble looking at visible light and James Webb looking at infrared, you get slightly different images, and it's the structure of those, the differences between those images that will tell you a lot about the debris, about basically the constituents of the debris, which may give insights into the nature of the surface of Dimorphos. It will also tell us how much stuff came off the surface after the collision and what speed it was. That's all stuff that can be detected by looking at these rather spectacular images, which show basically the bright point of light, which is Dimorphos itself, with streaks of material coming out really in all directions.
Yeah, it was a Hollywood explosion.
Really was. Yes, that's right. With stuff smearing out in all directions. Actually, it's easy to pick which is the James Webb image, because the brilliance of Dimorphos itself has caused diffraction spikes. These are basically those spikes of light that come from the physical properties of light itself, and they're in a six-starred pattern. So that's telling you straight away that's the James Webb. But in between all that, there is other stuff which is the real ejector material. And finally, the image that I really liked, which has come from the SOAR telescope in Chile, which you and I don't talk about very often. SOAR is an acronym for the Southern Astrophysical Research Telescope. It's a 4.1 meter telescope, similar in size to our Anglo-Australian telescope here in New South Wales, but much, much younger. And it's at Cerro Tololo Inter-American Observatory, not far from La Serena in Chile, which I haven't visited, but I have seen from a distance on the mountaintop from across the valley. So SOAR has taken some images which show not just those plumes of ejecta, but also a long spike of material, which is effectively this stuff from the explosion being blown away by the solar wind and the radiation pressure of the sun in exactly the same way as you get with a comet.
Wow.
So what's happened is they've created a sort of artificial mini comet here. Yeah. Really spectacular image, though, from the SOAR telescope. Well worth a look. It's on a press release from NOIRLab, NOIRLAB. That is the organization, the National Optical Infrared Laboratory run by the National Science Foundation in the USA, and SOAR is actually one of their telescopes. So really great stuff. Good to be able to report on, the detection of the debris cloud. What comes next, Andrew? We'll cover this down the track, is what that impact did to the orbit of Dimorphos.
Yes, still to be determined. But
still to be determined.
As the name suggests, hopefully it will result in a redirection of the moonlet. And yes, that would mean an absolute total success of the mission. I'm just amazed by all the science, all the observations, the spacecraft chasing DART, the fact that it hit so close to its prime target position on the moonlet. Everything just happened perfectly. It was just an astonishing mission, and it's worth looking into the aftermath of that, and we're starting to see feedback already. So plenty more to learn. Fred, thanks for joining us on Astronomy Daily. Nice to catch up, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Andrew.
Professor Fred Watson, who joins me regularly on Space Nuts, which you can download from our website, spacenuts.io.
The Astronomy Daily Podcast.
With Andrew Dunkley.
Selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
As easy as pie?
Sure. All you have to do is enter your license plate or VIN.
As easy as a stroll in the park.
Okay, then just answer a few questions and you'll get a real offer in seconds.
As easy as singing.
Why not? Schedule a pickup or drop-off and Carvana will pay you that amount right on the spot.
As easy as playing guitar.
Actually, I find that kind of difficult. But selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
Can be.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get an instant offer today.
Now to a couple of other things. New research has shown that Mars may or may not contain liquid water, or maybe it has both. Recent findings by a team of researchers from Cornell University suggest that radar reflections from Mars' South Pole layered deposit may be the result of geological layering. In 2002, the Mars Express Orbiter detected the SPLD using the Mars Advanced Radar for Subsurface and Ionosphere Sounding. The opinion was that conditions were too cold for similar lakes to form on Mars, but recent computer simulations showed that two layers of CO2 ice separated by a layer of dusty ice, produced reflections as bright as the Mars observations without the presence of water or other rare materials. The results indicate that the Mars readings can be reproduced without water. This does not necessarily mean there is no liquid water beneath the surface of Mars' South Pole, but it is vitally important that scientists determine where water is on Mars and where it is not. The presence of liquid water beneath the polar cap could also have important implications for its age, the internal heating of Mars, and how the planet's climate evolved in recent geological periods. Much the same is true of the many other suspected underground lakes detected in recent years, and of course the planning for future human missions to Mars. New kind of space suit designed for missions to Mars could soon be developed in Australia. In fact, they've already built prototypes. Given the difficulties of space flight and the effects of zero-G on the human body, particularly the muscles, the bones, and even the blood pressure in the eyes, finding ways to reduce the impact have become the focus of some serious attention. The answer may well be in a full-body compression system, which could be worn for several months in flight, putting pressure on parts of the body that need to be manipulated or massaged, or whatever you like, at the right times. According to Dr. James Waldie from Human Aerospace, who designed the suit, it's basically about tricking the body and the human mind and replicating conditions from a 1G environment, so the body responds and maintains its integrity. I've put that very, very simply, but that's the bottom line. Getting the right amount of squeeze, though, apparently is key. And finally, and much closer to home, scientists have found evidence of an ocean deep inside a world in our own solar system. The ocean is thought to be about 410 miles below the surface of this world, according to a study published in the journal Nature Geoscience. And the world we're talking about is Earth. Yep. They think that the water cycle of our planet may mean that an ocean exists under Earth's surface somewhere below Botswana. The discovery was made by studying diamonds mined in the region, and they think it's more likely to be a slurry rather than a fluid ocean, but it does suggest that Jules Verne wasn't far wrong when he wrote Journey to the Centre of the Earth. All right, that's about it for today's episode. Anything before we go, Halley?
Who is that, Auntie Halley?
Shh. I'm working. Go back to your virtual room and study for your Java exam. Sorry, Andrew. That was my niece. She's cute, but needs to learn her place.
Yeah, no worries. So babysitting, yes, I get it. We're doing the same. Yours is learning Java language. Mine's learning all the different Pokemon. Okay, Halley, I'll leave you to it and we'll catch up tomorrow. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's still there. Or I didn't even ask her name. Maybe tomorrow. That's it from us. Thanks for your company. Hope you enjoy Astronomy Daily. If you do, please leave us your reviews and don't forget to visit our website for more Astronomy Daily news, spacenuts.io, and click on the Astronomy Daily link and subscribe to the newsletter while you're there and maybe catch up with back episodes and, of course, episodes of Space Nuts with Professor Fred Watson. Until next time, this is Andrew Dunkley for Astronomy Daily.
The Astronomy Daily Podcast
with Andrew Dunkley.